bunch of ways really. Previous to the fire in say La Crosse was another great example, and the fire in Grenfell, you typically didn't see fires that spread up the outside of a building. So typically they'd be contained within the building. There's plenty of fire measures to stop that. Now, these type of fires that catch onto the cladding tends to be on the exterior of a building. They travel up the outside and they can cause a whole new set of problems to the people fighting them. They self-fuel, so as the cladding begins to melt, it'll cause more cladding to catch on fire. When it's being put out by the fire crews, it tends to rain debris down onto them. And in a lot of ways, it's just such a risky material that action needed to be taken for it. So following the Grenfell Tower, you ended up seeing the Victorian and of course national government start to take action on it. They began auditing large buildings within the strata industry and in the major metropolitan centres to discover which ones did or didn't have cladding. And a great idea to give you a view into why it's so risky. Every single product within a building sits on something called the potential energy index. So that is how much energy that product can give to a fire to fuel it. So you have everything on this scale from brick to plastic to glass, of course the cladding as well, and of course liquids like water, which is the flammable of course, and petroleum, oil, etc, etc. Wood sits about 30 on that scale, petrol sits at 95, a non-fire treated cladding sits at about 94. So cladding, having some of these non-fire rated claddings on the outside of your building is akin to essentially pouring petrol all over the outside of the OC. The problem with this is if I was to look out the window at a building that has cladding on it, I couldn't tell you what that was made out of. I couldn't tell you if it is fire rated. I couldn't tell you if it's something that is horribly dangerous or not. And that's the government's idea. So look into these buildings, encourage the owners themselves to treat that risk seriously and to actually get reports and work done to understand what their building is made out of and what the risk is. We'll need to know, anytime you're looking to quote insurance within Strata, we'll need to know what the building is made out of in general. ACP or cladding is no different. We'll need information on that. We'll need to know how much of it is at the site, so what percentage of the building is it. We'll need to know what the product is, so that's when you start talking to your OC manager. They'll be able to get some reports done. You only ever need these reports done once, unless you change the exterior of the building, because it's not going to change. All this sort of information should be forwarded onto your insurer so that they understand the risk they're insuring you for. In insurance, there's an age-old saying that for every risk there is a price, and there is a price for every risk. Of course, that price needs to be reflective of how risky that property is. If it's very safe, very simple, the price is going to be lower than something that is high risk. And of course, that leads you further into, I suppose, the OC needing to consider whether they may want to remove it. The council may be enforcing the need to remove that. These can all be things that come up as part of this auditing process.